Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to our show on President's Day 2023. My name's Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and thanks so much for listening. And maybe you're going Metro shopping or something today. We expect that. That's okay, because a lot of our listenership is on the archive, so we archive everything over at our home website, which is ace-ed.org. And that's the home website of our American Consortium for Equity in Education, ace-ed.org. And go over there, enjoy our magazine. Just click through on the cover, which you'll see. The magazine is called Equity and Access Pre-K-12. You'll see it there. And just click through. It's a really excellent issue, and we're honoring all the Equity Award winners for this year on there. You'll see it. It's your colleagues, companies in the industry, et cetera, and who do a good job for equity, and that's what we really stand for. We work for it every day, and if you want to join in with us, please, everything we do over there is free for you. So if you'd like a subscription to the magazine, which is just we'll send you a link to the magazine on your email when it comes out, and we publish every other month. Please just go over and you'll see if you scroll down over at the website, there's a way to easily join the consortium. Again, it's all at ace-ed.org. A lot of good information over there, too. We try. We really do. Today we have a nice show, and thanks to my friends at Discovery Education. Hello, Stephen. Okay, you can't see me. I just waved to you. That's Stephen Wakefield, our VP of PR, who helped me put together this show today with a returning guest whose name is Pete Bohacek. Okay, and we're doing talk. He's the founder of Pivot Interactives, and along with Pete, well, we have two. Actually, I just realized we have two people named Peter. For some reason, it didn't gel till just a second. Okay, Pete Bohacek is here. Hi, guys. Okay, and Peter Olson-Skog, and I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Peter. Okay, who's the superintendent of where Pete Bohacek teaches. Let me get through this. Pete Bohacek is the founder of Pivot Interactives, but also is a physics teacher, I believe, in West St. Paul, Minnesota, in Mendota Heights, which I have been to. Okay, and Peter Olson-Skog, Dr. Olson-Skog, is the superintendent of the school district. Let me start with Peter. We'll go with Olson there. Peter Olson-Skog, Dr. Olson-Skog. This is Larry Jacobs. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Okay, it's nice to meet you. This Peter. I met the other one before. Did I do well right in your last?
You got Peter. And just to be fair to the last name, it's Olson-Skog, long O.
Skog.
And my grandparents would be upset if I didn't make sure we got that.
And I thank you for correcting me. I didn't have a phonetic one, and I'm going to glad. Is that Swedish or Norwegian or what?
It is. The Olson Swedish. The Olson is Norwegian. The Skog is Swedish.
Wow. Beautiful Minnesota. That's what it's all about out there. I'll tell you, it's great. Then welcome to the show, Peter Olson-Skog. Skog?
You got it.
Thank you, my friend. It's great. And, you have a PhD. Where'd you get that from?
University of Minnesota.
Never heard. That might be the Golden Gophers, huh?
We are the Gophers. Yes, we are.
You are the Gophers. Okay. Pete Bohacek, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Larry. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here again. I'll tell you. How's everything going?
It's a beautiful morning here in Minnesota. It's snowing and
nice.
Absolutely wonderful.
It's excellent. And I have to ask you, Peter Bohacek, are you a physics teacher in the school district, or are you director of curriculum and instruction, or maybe both?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was a physics and physical science teacher, and I guess theoretically I still am, although I'm only a 0.2 FTE as a teacher. But no, I've never had a role in curriculum and instruction or just a teacher.
Okay, so I'm going to change that. So are you working now almost full time on Pivot Interactives, or what's your day like?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I work with the students. We have students that work in the lab. I'm sure we'll talk about this later. That work in the lab creating Pivot Interactive's content, and so I'm the teacher that oversees that group of students. But right now I don't teach a traditional class, although I have for many years as Pivot Interactives was slowly growing.
Wow, that's incredible. And Dr. Olson-Skog, I got to tell you that, Peter, this is all going on in your school, right? I mean, it's in your school district. It's amazing.
It's been an incredible journey, and yeah, I've always enjoyed from the first time I've met the other Peter, getting to know each other. He's an incredibly creative guy who came up with an opportunity for our school district that I just feel really fortunate to be part of.
And why that's a great statement. When they're part of Discovery Education now, pivotinteractives.com. Okay, but you just said that was developed as a part of your school district. That is so wonderful to hear. I have to tell you, and I congratulate you guys on working together to make all this happen. I mean, it's just amazing. I want to get into that whole relationship, okay, because we're going to really talk about, supporting ed tech entrepreneurs in school districts. I think you guys are like a dream come true for me here, because I talk about this all the time, and how far teachers can go with all this stuff. But I'm going to call you Dr. Pete and Pete. So Dr. Pete, okay, Dr. Pete, the superintendent, brag a little bit and tell me about your school district, which if I'm reading correctly, is Mendota Heights, which I've been to. That's West St. Paul, right?
Well, let me tell you. First off, I think we are a Goldilocks school district. We're not too big. We're not too small. So we've got about 5,000 kids, and we serve about 40,000 residents. Now, here's why I think we're not too big, not too small, because we're big enough to offer these fantastic array of intriguing opportunities for our students like Pivot. But we're small enough that we really do know each other, right? Like, I mean, in some districts, the superintendent might not know a teacher well enough to really get involved and to understand what they want to do. And in our district, we do. And so in terms of the cities, there is the city of West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, and the city of Eagan. We've got schools in each of those, but we also serve Lilydale, Mendota, which is different than Mendota Heights, two different cities, and then Sunfish Lake and a little corner of Invergrove Heights. So it's seven suburbs in the southeast corner of the Twin Cities.
And I have to ask this because I don't understand the whole district thing. Are you the only school district for all those cities and towns?
For most of those cities and towns, we're the only school district. But for some of them, in particular, Eagan, you'll find it in the name of like 3 different school districts, maybe more. So there's Rosemont, Apple Valley, Eagan. There's Burnsville, Savage, Eagan. There's West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, Eagan. So it's actually originally based on where farmers had their land and got together and decided to form a school district, and the lines are more about that than it is about cities.
How interesting. I never realized that was the way that was. Are there other districts like that out there? I mean, obviously, those 3. Does it shake out that way all through the whole area?
There's some. One of our neighbors is one district, one city. That's South St. Paul. There's another one that I used to work for in the northern part of the city, Roseville area schools, and that serves 7 communities, just like ours. So it varies quite significantly.
Wow, that to me is extremely interesting. Okay, I have to tell you, it's interesting the way it shakes out in various places across the country. And again, I'm going to go back to the way you described it. It's something that was great for the district. Pete Bohacek, okay, you were doing Pivot Interactives with the kids in class, and I want to say hi to Matt Vonk too. Okay, he was one of the co-founders.
Yeah.
Okay, Pete,
right.
Talk about the. It starts as I'm kind of making this up, but it starts probably as a classroom activity, a great idea, and all of a sudden it becomes something bigger. And just talk about how the school district relates to the company. I don't know how to say that the right way, but you can probably help me with that. People has it.
Yeah, sure, I can. So yes, you're right. It started in my physics classroom, with the idea that students learn best. All teachers know this. Students learn best when they're interacting with the phenomena, with the scenarios that they're studying. And, we try to bring those into the classroom in the form of hands-on activities, but we're really constrained. There are many phenomena that we want students to study that simply won't fit on the desk in front of them in the time allotted and the budget allotted. And so interactive video was an alternative to that didn't have those constraints, where students could measure things that take a long time or a very short time or simply are impractical to fit in the classroom. And it really opened up new avenues for my students to learn. And you're right, very early on, initially I was doing it on my own in my spare time on weekends, I was a hobbyist photographer and was learning about videography. But very quickly, two important sources of collaboration emerged. One was Matt Vonk, who you mentioned, who at that time was my collaborator and wrote the early grants to National Science Foundation, and then became my business partner. And the other was the school district. And I can summarize the school district's viewpoint very succinctly. The school district quickly realized that what I was doing, what Matt and I were doing, and what the school district were doing are consistent with each other, but different in the following way. The school district is interested in educating students and providing the best experience that they can. And so that's consistent with them supporting what Matt and I were doing. But Matt and I had a bigger goal, which was not only do we want to improve it for our own students, but we wanted to improve it for students in as broad a range of students as we could. And the school district said, well, that's great, but that's not our interest. And so you are free to pursue that part on your own. As long as we get the benefit in our classroom, you can go ahead and work with this with this content that you're building, which really was a visionary position because, you know, in the beginning, the school district owned everything that I was doing. I was a school teacher. I was working as a teacher, and they owned that content. And so quickly the school district said, like, as long as you are doing something that's benefiting our students, then you have the freedom to pursue it outside. And that, I think, is the reason that Pivot Interactives made it. We wouldn't have. The school district easily could have said, no, this is ours. We want you to focus just on being a teacher. And, you know, I would have had to make a choice, quit teaching or, you know, bad choices either way. So I think the school district was really key. That viewpoint was key in keeping Pivot going.
Well, I would say so. So, Dr. Peter, okay, is this the first time this ever happened in the school district?
It's the first time in this school district, and I don't know of another school district that's got a ed tech company sitting inside of it. So, yeah, probably.
Is Matt Vonk still teaching there?
Matt teaches at University of Wisconsin River Falls, and he does still teach.
Sorry, forgot.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So now this is great. So you've got this literally, you've got this company kind of inside. Dr. Peter, how do you feel about that? I mean, this is just amazing. I mean, this started in your school. You got to feel so proud of this. I'm proud of you.
I do. I brag about this program all the time. I brag about it to families that are thinking of enrolling in our school district. I brag about it to fellow administrators in other school districts. I think when I first met Peter, I was just deeply fascinated and intrigued. I don't think I knew exactly what it was going to turn into. I don't think any of us really did.
No, nobody did.
But it was the content itself. I will tell you is just watching the process of the videos getting created and watching the students getting engaged in this business and this deep science learning that they were going through. It was just really, really intriguing and fun. It's a lot of fun. So we, as it grew, I started to see more and more the benefits for our students and for our staff. Our science department is an incredibly they've achieved a lot of success. We lead our surrounding areas in the types of results we get on standardized assessment scores, and I think it's due in part to this type of creativity, to this type of learning that we're offering our students, and because as Peter mentioned, the students. You never learn something as well than when you're immersed in it, but also when you are trying to create a video that is going to teach students worldwide, ostensibly. And that's what was going on. It was fun to watch, fun to keep thinking, all right, well, what's the next step Peter's going to take, and how can we support it, and how can it continue to make more opportunities for our students and staff.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm sure this has happened elsewhere. You mentioned that, okay, Dr. Pete, but I got to tell you, I do a lot of podcasting. I do a lot of work with teachers all over the country, and I never really heard of this before. I mean, I know it's happening, okay, but to actually hear it and talk to people involved in it, it's just so terrific because teachers have so much to offer. And I'll tell you, Pete Bohacek, Okay, you're the king of actually showing people that. All right, I talk about it all the time. The teachers have so much to offer, and they have so much to offer to the industry outside of their school and getting out there. And so Peter, just how's it all operate now with the school district, Pete Bohacek? Are the teachers at the school district using Pivot? What's going on with that? How's it all shaking out now?
So it's a symbiotic relationship that I could never have predicted, because we have students that are working in our lab and always have. When you go and look at the original collection of videos, many of them are student interns, student employees that have worked for us over the years, and so it's you really have that student feel in the videos, which I think makes them easy to relate to for other students. So that's what it starts with, the student influence in the lab. But then you're absolutely right. As soon as we have a new activity that we've created, we'll find a teacher at the school who's teaching something similar, and they will allow us to bring these activities into the students and get feedback from the students. And so it's immediately we get the learning benefit for the students at our school before it's released on the rest of our platform. And then we get feedback about what's working about this activity, and if there's ways to improve it, we can do that. And I think that the last part of that symbiosis is that I am absolutely clear that the activities we work because they're developed in a school. That if we were to not be working so closely with the school district, I don't think our content would be as good. I think we learn things all the time, that we wouldn't have thought of. A student comment, or a place that the students are confused, or where they're excited. We use that to build to improve the content all the time.
And Pete Bohacek, this is physics, science. You're a high school teacher, but I'm going to say it this way: what lower grades can this be taken into? Where else can it go besides high school physics? Talk about it everywhere.
Sure. So first of all, we started off with physics, but then we've expanded to chemistry and biology and earth science and astronomy. Environmental science. So we have a broad range of science subjects that we cover, and physics is where we started. But honestly, I think some of the other content is even more amazing, because if you think about biology, how hard it is to learn from organisms or from environments, or that's tough stuff to replicate in the classroom. But for interactive video, you can actually do it really effortlessly. And you're right. Now we're starting to explore younger grades as well, and and so we go down to sixth grade now. But we think that there is potential. So much of the sort of alternative to something like what we do is animated, animated simulations, and I think that there's a place for those for sure. But I think that the real world is way more exciting, way more captivating to everybody, including young students. And so that's something that we are starting to explore is going to even younger grades than sixth grade.
I think it's great. And again, you're an entrepreneur, you and Matt. Okay, but how are you working with Discovery and all that sort of thing? How's it work from your offices in Minnesota to theirs, maybe in Maryland or wherever? How's that working out?
In North Carolina. So Pivot Interactives is now wholly owned by Discovery, and so Matt and I have become Discovery employees, and so the lab that the school district originally built we use for Pivot Interactives is really now a Discovery education space. The signage still says Pivot Interactives, but we're it's really Discovery Education that houses that runs the lab that's inside Two Rivers High School.
It's so cool to watch and hear about the growth and all that sort of thing. I mean, it's just amazing. So, Dr. Peter, what do you hear from other superintendents as you brag about this? I mean, this is really something. What are you hearing from the other ones? Are they being approached, and are you being approached by others who have learned from Pete Bohacek's success?
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of movement right now within the public education sphere to make connections, real connections and authentic connections with businesses. Most of those right now look like, you're going to come in and you're going to give guest you're going to be a guest speaker. We're going to place some students in your business as interns. We're going to have, some of our classes. I mean, we do some of our classes off-site in businesses. So I think there's a lot more deepening partnerships between school districts and businesses. Exactly like this, I haven't heard about it enough. I'll just say that. I think it's people need to understand. I mean, I'll tell you 2 quick stories. We have a student who went through Pivot, and because of his involvement in Pivot, gained acceptance into an Ivy League school.
Wow.
Then he goes to that Ivy League school, gets there, sits down in one of his science classes, and lo and behold, what do they pull up and use as one of their learning activities? A video and software that he helped create.
Wow.
From Pivot, right? And so,
this was at an Ivy League. They used Pivot at an Ivy League school.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
They use Pivot at universities. They use Pivot.
Wow.
Go ahead, Peter. Well,
one of you
and then
go.
the second story that I was going to tell is just the ongoing interaction. Superintendents are always looking for real ways to meaningfully engage their staff together, to collaborate together, and to think about new and better ways to educate their students. And that happens day in, day out in this department, as for lots of reasons. I mean, they're just a fantastic department to begin with. But Pivot just creates this catalyst to really say, like, okay, here's this thing that we're jointly engaged in, and it's making huge differences for our kids. How do we make it even better? And just the ongoing conversation and professional development that's happening as a result of that, it's exciting.
So it's amazingly exciting, and I have to put it in a bigger perspective. There's a lot of challenges out there, and I hope you're not having them in the district, with teacher retention. And it's very hard to find. It's hard to retain teachers these days, and as I say, I hope you're not having that challenge. Okay, but it's very hard to find teachers if we do need to find them. Okay, the pipeline is less, etc. And anything a school district can do to help their teachers and make them feel like they're really doing something really important and making a difference makes all the difference in the world, in the way you support your teachers and keep them working. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Peter? I mean, how are things going with teacher retention in the district and all that sort of thing? As I say, I hope things are fine. But this is a big step towards conquering that challenge.
Well, I mean, we are not immune to the teacher shortage. It's happening everywhere, right? And so I think
it is.
that we are working hard to try and make a district where people want to come and want to stay. So I think that you're right that this is an example of many things that we want to do to make sure that our teachers love our district and want to be here for a long time. They do. I will say that our teaching force has been here for a long time, and once they get here, they frequently finish their career here. So
nice.
It's a great district with a great group of teachers and educational professionals.
Yeah, Dr.
Larry,
Peter,
if I can, I'm going to just...
Wait a minute. Dr. Peter, how long have you been superintendent there?
This is my 6th year in the district.
Congratulations. That's great. That's just great.
Thanks.
Okay, Peter Bohacek, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say when I actually didn't know of the school district. When I got my teaching certification, I saw a job in the newspaper and went to interview there and really was impressed by the administration and the teachers that I met. And so I took the job thinking, sure, this is a great place that I'll start. And the more I learned about the school district and the population and the parents and the students and the other teachers there, the more I liked it. And so I've never been tempted to leave. I've been there 20 years. I've never been. So I just want to say what Peter Olson-Skog says about the community and about teachers liking working there. I absolutely agree.
And you're still there. You're still teaching. You're still teaching,
absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, it's that simple. And you're teaching what, one class a day? What's going on now?
Just supervising the lab students, the students that are in the lab. So it's not really a traditional class, but when the students are in there working in the lab, that's working with them that's my role.
You must be the hero of all the other teachers in the school. On that note, I have to ask you something. You know, there's a lot of the CTE, career and technical education, is extremely important these days. Okay, in my opinion. All right, and I have to ask you. You are the living example of that. Okay, of somebody pursuing a career and all that. Have you talked with the teachers in CTE? Have you gone over there and talked to their kids? Pete Bohacek.
Yeah. Yes, I have, and we have had students work sort of as interns, and we've even had students. Yeah. You know, what's fascinating is that we've had students who worked in the lab and then got college degrees. So two of the most senior people at our company, one who is the chief architect of our software, was a student at Two Rivers High School, and I had him as a physics student, and he learned to program, working on some of the early versions of Pivot Interactives, and then he went to University of Minnesota, got his degree in computer science, and he's now chief architect and the manager of our lab. Sort of the same situation. She was a student in my physics class and went to University of Minnesota, and now she is the most creative and productive video maker that we've ever had. So it really is career, like you say, development. These students actually started interning in our company and became employees of our company.
Wow, it's really, I mean, it's a real company. I mean, this is just absolutely, it's just absolutely fascinating to me what you guys have done. It's just incredible. Pete, what advice would you give to other teachers? I mean, you must be dealing with this all the time. People coming up to you and say, Pete, look what you did. How can I do it?
Yeah, I do. That does happen. And my advice to them is to work actively with their school district. Unfortunately, I do see examples of teachers who sort of think, well, if I just keep it as a side gig, maybe then I don't need to get the school district involved. And I really encourage them that they do want their school district. First of all, they have, a legal obligation to include their school district. But I think that in our case, the school district has been and still is such a benefit. And you need collaborators. If you're a teacher and you have an idea, you're not going to get anywhere unless you really get a group of collaborators and supporters that'll help you scale it. So that's my advice: is engage with your school district. You need their help, and they're likely going to be welcoming. You're exactly right, and too many people don't do that. I mean, it's that simple. And there are some superintendents who aren't as good as Dr. Pete. Okay. And you really nailed this one, Dr. Pete, I got to tell you. Okay, it's your leadership that allows this kind of thing to happen and be so successful. Okay, it's really that simple. I agree.
Yeah, it's just terrific. Yes.
I appreciate that. I would tell Peter Bohacek is a fascinating, caring, genuine, creative person, and so I appreciate the kudos, and I do think it's important to receive that to a certain extent, because I think I want to tell other superintendents to not be scared about something like this. But Peter Bohacek and the entire team at Pivot poured out blood, sweat, and tears to make this thing happen. There were times I'm sure that it was a little bit scary, and can we sustain this? Can this keep going? And they proved that it could. So they are a committed group of individuals that care a lot about not the company, but the mission of the company, the mission of Pivot. And it's truly been my privilege to partner with it and watch it happen.
And I just never. So there's a line out your door now of teachers with great ideas. I want you to right. I really got to hand it to you, man. I mean, you guys put this together. I mean, so many people would see the opposite. I got this idea. I can't tell anybody. Okay, and it's the opposite way to think, and you prove that. Okay, I think it's just terrific, guys. I really do. You should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you, Larry.
For goodness sake. And I got to ask something else. I know your district, Dr. Pete, okay, but does your school district have a name, or is it just the number 197? I'm trying to figure that out.
So the official name is West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, and Eagan Area Schools. And then the school, but oftentimes, because that is a long name,
yes.
we go by school district 197.
Okay, that is a long name for a school district. West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, and Eagan. Okay, but it's school district 197 and very supportive of teachers. And in this day and age, there's nothing more important than being supportive of teachers and being supportive of teacher entrepreneurs. Okay, what a difference this has all made. I got to tell you, both of you, thank you, gentlemen. The two Peters, thank you so much. You guys you just nailed it. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're welcome, Larry. Thanks. Great to talk to you again, and
I
appreciate your support and enthusiasm. It really
you have
helps.
it all the time, my friend. Thank you both. I support people who are doing great work, and you guys are. So, and everybody else involved too. I don't want to just say it's just you guys. So thanks so much, both of you. Take care.
Take care. Bye, Larry.
Bye. Wow. Okay, Dr. Peter Olson-Skog. Okay. Superintendent, School District 197, but it's West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, Eagan, Minnesota. Okay, and also Pete Bohacek, who's the physics teacher and founder of Pivot Interactives. That's pivotinteractives.com. That is part of Discovery now. Okay, so I got to again thank Discovery for this. It's the second time Mr. Bohacek has been on, and I got to tell you, it's just great. I mean, it's just so great to hear such a wonderful story. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org, and I hope you share it with a lot of people, because this is the kind of thing we want to see happen in this day and age. Okay, I got to tell you, this day and age. All right. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. Thanks for listening.